Welcome to Cocktails with the Krewe, a podcast about wedding planning.
Episode 4.
Welcome back to episode 4 now of Cocktails with the Krewe. I am Jessica Talzak. I'm the Director of Special Events for Republic NOLA. And this is...
I'm Jessica Burke, and I'm publisher of New Orleans Weddings Magazine. We also have a fantastic behind-the-scenes crew who we must recognize. We have Brian Jarrow, who came for our first episode and has not left. He is operating the camera, and we love having him here. And we also have Ms. Ellen Kramer, who is operating our sound today. So, thanks for being here, y'all.
Yeah, thank you. So the way, what we're kind of doing with this podcast is each episode we have a topic related to the wedding industry, and we invite planners and brides, grooms, different vendors and guests to kind of talk about that topic.
And most importantly, we drink.
Yes, we
drink.
have cocktails.
Yes.
So today's cocktail of the day is a lemon ginger beer mosa. Mm-hmm. So this is great for brunch, for daytime events, and, just in general, it's delicious.
Time of day.
Yeah. So basically it is Grey Goose L'Orange vodka. And then it is topped with a lemon ginger radler, which is a type of beer with a little bit of fruit in it, and OJ. So, really simple but delicious. And
Yes.
there you go.
So, all right, awesome. So, as we get our drinks here, we're going to welcome our guest, Rena, with Alchemy Events, to come on to the set and grab a drink.
Yeah.
There you go. Welcome. It's nice to see you. All right,
Good
let's
to
do a
see
little
you too.
cheers.
Yes.
There we go.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right.
Ladies.
Now, first things first, Rena, tell us about Alchemy Events and your experience in the event industry.
So I've been working here in New Orleans doing events for almost 20 years. I started out on the corporate side and then worked with someone else who was doing private events, and almost 20 years later, here I am. I think I'm kind of known for doing out-of-the-box events, things that are really unique and kind of special to that couple, really learning about their story and helping convey that during their event to all of their guests and making it really fun and unique also. I mean, it's New Orleans, so it's got to be a fun wedding.
Yeah. So tell us about the name, Alchemy Events. How did you come up with that name?
So Alchemy is, turning a base metal into gold.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I do. I can take the ideas that they have and, help elevate them. So I work with a lot of clients that might have a few pictures from Pinterest or just a general idea of, maybe we're honeymooning in Italy. So can we do something that feels like the Italian countryside or, something like that, and take a very general idea and then make it their own so that it's not so cookie cutter. We don't want to copy what we've seen on Pinterest or somewhere else, but maybe just taking that inspiration and they can show me, I like this color palette. I like the concept of doing something like this. And then taking that and, like I said, really just turning it into something that's about them and their story together.
Love that. Love that.
Thank you.
It's a great concept.
So I know you have questions, just as
So our topic today is the art of surprise and the element of surprise in events. So what are some things that you've done for brides and grooms in the past, to kind of really bring that element of surprise into their big day?
The most recent wedding that I've done that had a really cool surprise element to it was a couple that had kind of a dark, mystical, magic theme for their event. And the quote that they used was, "Take a lover who looks at you like maybe you're magic." Oh. So we wanted to really bring in a lot of purple colors to the wedding. All of this sort of, that creative process snowballs, and they wanted to do a surprise for their guests, and we're doing a lot of purples. And so, of course, when you think of purple, you think of Prince. And then that led into, "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today."
Oh my gosh.
So what we did was all the guests showed up and went directly into a cocktail situation, drinks, past hors d'oeuvres. they really didn't know what was going on other than they had showed up at the appointed time and they were getting food and drinks. Yeah. And so when everybody was ready and set, the wedding was at Race and Religious, which has that really cool bridge over the courtyard area. So when the bewitching hour was upon us, we had all the lights go down. And right when that happened, we had purple lights come up on the balconies upstairs. And, of course, the music started, Dearly Beloved. The bridal party filed out on each side balcony. And then when we were ready for the bride and groom to come out, they popped purple smoke bombs.
Oh, wow.
And those went off.
Chills.
And then the bride and groom walked from each side in the middle of the bridge. And that was kind of their first look. And we had a spotlight hit them and the smoke bombs going off. And then they just tossed beads down to all the guests. And danced and just partied up there on the bridge. And then when the song ended, we kind of came over the mic and asked everyone to join us back in the front courtyard for the ceremony. And then they came down from the bridge, and then to come into the wedding, we had a drum line.
Wow!
So
that's really epic.
It was very different, very unique. I don't think anyone would have expected either of those things.
Right.
And the drum line was really cool. We had one drummer would enter in with one bridesmaid, and then the whole group of drummers brought the bride and her son in.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it was just a really cool experience, and again, I don't think anyone expected that would be a first look or the way that they would even enter the ceremony.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That's just so much fun. It just
It was. Yeah.
And it's the kind of thing that people will remember forever and ever.
Oh, yeah.
And it's when you're there in person, it probably gave everybody goosebumps. I mean,
it was a really cool thing to be a part of. And I loved that the bride wasn't scared. Because, when you're having a phone call and you're like, so I want to talk to you about Prince.
Right.
I want to talk to you about Prince.
But I knew she was the perfect bride. She is so creative and is a furniture designer. So she has, very specific taste, and I knew that she was, if anyone, she was the perfect one to pitch that to.
That is
so
awesome.
It was really fantastic.
So how do you come up with these ideas for these surprise elements? Is this just something that just hit you, this would be perfect, or did she give you some clues and you elicited it from? Tell us how the idea came to be.
I mean, it depends. Sometimes, as vendors, sometimes you see something or you think of something and you're like waiting for that perfect client.
Yes. Yeah.
So it might be like a year or two later, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this person
I've been
would do
wanting
this.
to do this.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
In her case, she wanted to do something out on the bridge. She wanted to do some sort of element like that and tossing beads down to the guests. And so we were trying to kind of fit all the pieces together. When are we going to second line? When are we going to toss beads from the bridge? Are we going to do this as a first look? And so we were kind of working to fit all this puzzle pieces together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we just kind of, she and I spent a lot of time talking and brainstorming. And then eventually when we got to that idea of doing some sort of entrance like that, it just clicked.
Yeah.
I just Prince and the color purple and the Dearly Beloved, and it all just clicked. And it seemed like just one of those kismet moments where it's meant to be that they would come enter into that and surprise all their guests that way. So
it's on a logistics side, coordinating that kind of surprise event. It's probably not just show up and make it happen.
Right.
No.
This didn't happen the day before. I think we should do this.
Yeah.
So what kind of planning needs to go into this? I mean, I'm assuming that the level of the surprise is going to dictate how much time and how many people need to be involved in it. But tell us a little bit about the logistics of something like that.
Well, to start off with, I think I have listened to that song more times than any other person ever, including maybe the people that did the production on it originally.
Oh my gosh.
So there was a lot of listening to it and stopping it at certain points to figure out what those musical cues were going to be.
Right.
When are the lights going to hit? When are the bridesmaids going to walk out? And then with my staff, because we had to be in different places, having different people cue bridal party members from opposite sides of that bridge area and cueing vendors as well.
So how many people were involved in the overall production, do you think?
We had I think 3 or 4 vendors that directly were working with us as far as the spotlight, the lights for the balconies, the music cues, all of that. So we had probably 3 or 4 vendors that were directly like all working hand in hand at that moment over the little earpiece mics, like, okay, now, and so everybody did really, really fantastic with pulling it off. And it was just torrentially downpouring that entire day. Oh. So we had, some issues with rain and electrical and lighting. And so everybody really went above and beyond to pull it off. And I think, that's one thing that maybe people don't realize is how invested we do get in our clients' events, because you want it to go well for them. You get excited about it too.
Right.
And, on our side, it's like, man, that's going to be so cool. We got to make it happen. What can we do?
Right.
How can we work around this? So everybody did a really great job of kind of coming together and working with, okay, you're going to do the spotlight. Okay, then we'll stand over here out of your way. And,
teamwork.
It's having really great vendors on board that are professional and work well with each other, and, all get excited for what we do.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So what other questions do you have?
Yeah, so in that instance, they obviously knew about the surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Cleared it with them from the get-go.
Yeah.
Made sure they were okay with
yes.
the number. Has there ever been another instance where maybe, your bride and groom they've conveyed to you something they kind of sort of want, but maybe it fell out of budget, or, just wasn't able to be worked into their plan, and maybe you want to surprise them with it day of, and you're not, sure whether you're overstepping your bounds or not by doing so. Have you ever had a situation like that?
Yes. So it's not that uncommon for the bride or groom to want to surprise the other. Like, oh, we wanted a live painter, we can't afford it. And then maybe the groom will come back and say,
or a family member will call.
Yes. But I had another wedding recently where the parents actually wanted to surprise the bride and groom with fireworks for the send-off.
Oh, wow.
So that's fantastic. And I knew the couple well enough. Again, I work pretty closely with all of my clients. So having that relationship helps also, because I have a little bit more insight what they would and wouldn't be okay with.
Right.
But, they didn't really know what they wanted to do for their send-off. And so I did have a conversation with them like, hey, the parents have something they've come up with. Are you comfortable with just letting that go and being surprised? And they were. You do have to kind of, walk that line. Yeah. You don't want them to be totally shocked and it not be in a good way. Yeah. But luckily they trusted me, and they trusted that their parents, would do something that they would like. So we did have some logistical things. We were going to set the fireworks to a very modern song like Katy Perry's Firework or something like that. And then the mom came back and said, oh, you know what? They really like classical music. So let's do something like that. I don't think they would like, a more modern top 40 pop hit. So I just worked through all the logistics with that. And, it was great because in the end, they were just so surprised. They actually had a running joke that maybe it was going to be llamas or something.
That would actually be kind of fun.
So we had this little kind of running joke about, yes, so then you're going to come outside and then the llamas are going, and that was our little code word for whatever the send-off was going to be.
That's awesome.
And we ended up it was at the Pito house, so we had fireworks stationed on the riverbank right there for the bayou. Mm-hmm. And it was sort of like my best friend's wedding thing. The gerbs, they shoot up into the air. And so we had those right there on the water. And as they walked out, they stopped to kiss. And while they were kissing, they went off. And so then they kind of looked up and were surprised. And it was a really cool moment.
That's great.
So it's always fun to see that look on their face and then be happy and surprised. And the parents were so happy with it too.
That's
so.
Awesome.
Yeah, but you do have to kind of check and walk the line between making sure it's going to be okay with the client.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I had actually a bride and groom recently that instead of doing a wedding party table, they wanted to do like a little lounge area.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the area that they wanted set up already with, 2 couches and a coffee table. That's just kind of how it always is.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were talking about floor plan and decor and things, I pitched all these ideas of like how we could dress up that area and make it really special. And the bride was like, I don't care. Like she's like, I am fine with it being 2 couches and a coffee table. It's totally fine the way it is. But like, I just couldn't let it be 2 couches and a coffee table.
Yeah.
It's their wedding party area,
right.
So I just took it upon myself to make it above and beyond and over the top and crossed my fingers that she would love it. And they ended up loving it. But yeah, it was kind of that instance of like, I fought with myself a little bit on it because I was like, she said she was fine with it, but like I just wanted it to be special.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that I did it that way because she ended up being like so incredibly grateful. So it was great.
You had another wedding recently too that did something pretty epic.
Yes, actually, same wedding. But basically, we did the ceremony upstairs for this particular
right where
wedding.
we're sitting?
Yes, right where you're sitting. Yes, they got married.
Beautiful backdrop.
Standing right here with the chandeliers in the background. And about 2 months before the wedding, the groom contacted me and said that he wanted to do something really epic and special for the bride. So her favorite movie was Love Actually. So if you're unfamiliar, basically what happens is, at the end of the wedding scene in Love Actually, as they're about to recess down the aisle, a few key people in the audience stand up and start singing or playing instruments to All You Need Is Love. And then a church choir comes in and, pops up on the balcony and sings to them the song and everything. So we recreated that whole scene at the end of the wedding, and it was absolutely epic. So we're actually going to talk to our groom who planned all of that out in 1 second.
And we're sitting over here both like about to tear up.
I know.
Yes, amazing.
It was epic. Excited.
That is like one of those scenes though that's...
Yes.
Let's see. Yeah, let's see. We're hitting Dave.
Hey, Dave. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So you can hear us, everything okay, right?
Yeah, no problem at all.
Awesome. So I was just kind of telling everyone, today's episode, we're talking about the element of surprise. So I was telling them about the epic surprise that we pulled off for your wedding, and how it was all your idea, which is so special because a lot of times, we don't have grooms who go above and beyond and do something epic like that. So it was great. So talk to us a little bit about, how the surprise went over with Carrie after the fact, and if, we pulled everything off the way that you envisioned, on the day.
Yeah, I think, one thing for me is, I was, on a personal level, is Carrie hates surprises, but in a good way. So nobody can ever surprise her. I think I've only been able to pull it off like once in 5 years, and with something like this, obviously she was probably looking that something was going to happen or what have you, but for the way we sort of wanted it to play out was, and it worked out, it sort of was convenient too, because the 2 musicians who were really incredible, that were her friends, were already playing in the wedding. So our feeling was, if she heard them start playing the song, she'd think, oh, okay, cute, you got me, that's the surprise.
Right.
And sort of that's when the choir thing, really got her. And if you watch on the video, it's pretty much exactly what happened. Because at first, like, yeah, okay, that's funny. You got me. And then it obviously blew her away. And it was awesome. Obviously you guys were great in facilitating it. And, it wasn't incredibly complicated, but it wasn't simple. And a lot of stuff could have gone wrong real quickly. So
yeah, my biggest thing was I told him that at the rehearsal, because he kept trying to ask me questions about it. I'm like, I'm trying to forget that it's happening because I was so afraid that I was going to accidentally mention something in front of her while she was there for the rehearsal. So I was like, shh, we're not going to talk about it right now.
Yeah, that was actually probably the biggest challenge of the whole thing, was whether it was you guys or just a handful of people that had to be in on it. You're going over so many different things, and I'm thinking to myself, there's so many text messages that I don't know who's attached to what, and somebody's just going to say something, and if in that case, if anybody had said one word, it would have been done.
Right, and she definitely
put
liked
two and two together.
She liked to be clued into everything, and I get it. So, so yeah, but it was awesome, and we loved, pulling it all off for you guys, and the video we have is epic.
I think we're going to show that.
We'll connect it to this episode so that everyone can see.
Nice.
Yeah, so awesome. Thank you so much for talking to us and giving us your point of view on it. We really appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you guys for everything you did. It was incredible.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. They were just such a special couple, too. It was just, that feeling of when you pull it off and everyone in the room has goosebumps and you're like, okay, we did it.
I can't wait to show that video.
Yeah,
it's going to be awesome.
It's great. Yeah.
So stick around at the end. We're going to have that all.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
I have to see if we can get some of your video too.
Yeah, we can definitely incorporate that as well.
Yes, that's going to be awesome. I'm very excited. I think maybe we've given everybody some ideas on how they can incorporate surprise and just bring another fun element into their wedding. It doesn't have to just be, everybody jumping up and yelling surprise.
Right. It can be, something completely unexpected and just special to the couple. Yeah. Really, that's really what matters is kind of reflecting their personalities in it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Another little cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cocktails with the Krewe is a New Orleans Weddings Magazine production, filmed on location at Republic NOLA in New Orleans Warehouse District, featuring host Jessica Talazak, Director of Special Events for Republic NOLA, and Jessica Burke, Publisher of New Orleans Weddings Magazine. Audio recording by Ellen Kramer. Video by Brian Jarrow. Theme music, Blues Genius by Steve Cox. Copyright 2019, New Orleans Weddings Magazine.